communicator. I'm an introvert. Can I be a good communicator without being talkative? Because I don't like talking too much, but I like to communicate well. What's the balance? Who is an introvert? Who is an extrovert? And what does introversion really mean? Are there secret advantages in being an introvert? Welcome to this beautiful session this morning with the Saint Educator Salome Olajide. And this morning, we're going to be breaking a myth about communication, and we'll see how we can help the reserved people communicate well. Honestly, there are some people that feel very odd when it comes to socializing. We want to look at what that means. What does socializing really mean? Can I love people and not want to engage in too much talking and still be okay and not awkward? We'll talk about all of that. Some people believe that if you are not talkative, if you're quiet, you are at a disadvantage. Well, we want to see if not being talkative can be a superpower, because I believe it is. What if it's your advantage? What if not being talkative is your advantage, not a disadvantage? You have met someone before who talks a lot but says nothing, haven't you? They talk and talk, their mouths run nonstop. But at the end of the day, you're trying to pick up what they actually said, and you can't find anything memorable. Yet there's someone else who speaks for just 1 minute, and it looks like you remember everything they said. That is the power of good communication. Perhaps communication is not about talking, and talking more. We've been measuring communication the wrong way. Before we move on, please share this video with your friends, with your relatives, your classmates. Share it on your status. Share it everywhere so that we can all come to learn together. Hello, Anika. Welcome. First, we need to correct wrong beliefs about communication, because what you believe about yourself will affect how you speak. Who is an introvert? Who is an extrovert? Does an introvert mean someone that is very shy and cannot look someone straight in the eyes? Someone that cannot say hello? Someone that cannot answer when being spoken to? I doubt that. So, who is an introvert? Hello, Sky Hernadi. Welcome. Welcome, Vivian. Who is an introvert and who is an extrovert? Introversion is not about social awkwardness. It's not social awkwardness. Introversion is about energy. It's about being socially functional. An introvert is someone who gains energy from solitude. You like being alone. You think deeply and you process thoughts internally. But an extrovert, he gains energy from social interaction. For an introvert, he loses energy from social interaction. You say, come for a party. Oh no, I'd rather stay alone. Not like he doesn't love people. There's a difference between being antisocial and being asocial. We'll talk about that pretty soon. So an introvert is someone who gains energy from solitude, who thinks deeply, who is reflective, and who processes internally. But an extrovert is someone who gains energy from social interaction, processes externally. He gains energy from other people, from being around others and interacting with other people. Before we move on, let's clear the air about being antisocial and being asocial. Being antisocial is disliking people. If you are antisocial, you dislike people. You may act against norms and you can be hostile or harmful. That is not being an introvert. Being antisocial is not just about being quiet. It's actually a negative behavior towards others, and that is wrong. But being asocial means that you enjoy solitude, you do not love or seek interactions, and you recharge alone. For instance, after a hard day's work, an extrovert might want to party to gain some energy, but an introvert would want to be alone, stay home, do some mind reflecting exercises, and recharge. That is the difference. So being asocial means you don't always need people around you. It doesn't mean you lack communication ability. So someone who enjoys reading alone, thinking deeply, is asocial. And someone who avoids people and treats people badly is antisocial. So let's clear the air. We're talking about being asocial. We're talking about being introverts, not being antisocial. Right? Tell me, do you think you are asocial? You enjoy solitude? Do you think you're antisocial? You avoid people completely? Or do you think you're somewhere in between? Let me know in the comments. I'd like to know in the comments. Let me see your comments about that. Now, back to the definition. Tell me who an introvert is in the comments. At least we have cleared the air and you already know who an introvert is and who an extrovert is. You can have a big personality like Simeon Sinek. Do you know him? You can have a big personality like him and be an introvert and still communicate well. He has said it time and time again publicly that he is an introvert. And that is his superpower. That is an advantage for him. He writes on introversion to think deeply. He writes on introversion to be a good communicator. So how can someone else think that because you're quiet, it means that you cannot speak well? That's a myth. That is wrong. And we need to, please, we also describe. Okay, I didn't get that. Siman Bishti, I didn't get what you said about describing. Can you say that again so I can speak to that? I'll speak to that if you recapture that. All right. So do you know Bill Gates? Bill Gates is an introvert. Michael Jordan is an introvert. Elon Musk is an introvert. So we can see that we have world leaders, global leaders that are introverts, and they have built something tangibly in the world. So if you are not a good communicator, you can't really build things that last. So tell me, is being introverted a crime? It's not. It gives you advantages that you need to use very well to your advantage. Let's zoom in on something that Simeon Sinek said recently. So, he's an introvert. He speaks to thousands of people. He speaks to millions of people on different platforms. He has books. He is known for his deep reflections. But one thing with him is he's great with a one-on-one conversation instead of talking to many people at the same time. That he already knows himself and he knows that that is his power, that is his strategy. So even when he's facing a very big crowd, he zooms in on one person and speaks to that one person. He zooms in on one person in the crowd and zooms in on that one person. So that his one-on-one, his individual conversation style is what he brings to the table, even when there is a crowd, right? And then he looks one person in the eye. He doesn't like holding court, and he doesn't have to. He is a good communicator because he zooms in on one-on-one and then makes that a super advantage for for him. So yes, let's break that myth that good communicators talk a lot. Do you have to talk a lot to be a good communicator? I would say that good communicators communicate clearly. You speak with intention and you speak meaningfully. That is what good communication is. Not someone that talks non-stop and they say, wow, that guy, he talks so well, so good. No. Does he transmit information? Does he transmit meaning? Is he logical? Is he structured when he speaks? That is what good communication is all about. So a talkative speaker is someone who repeats ideas and lacks structure. But a powerful communicator is someone who speaks with clarity, is intentional, and uses fewer but stronger words. He's precise. Which one would you love to be? Would you love to be a talkative speaker? Or you would love to be a powerful communicator? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Susan Cain is a researcher. And from her research, she has proven that introversion is not something that needs to be cured, that needs to be fixed, or that needs to be solved. It's not something you need to worry about. We all have our differences. You don't have to force yourself to be an extrovert because you want to become a better version of yourself. No. I'm the SEND educator, and here I help you speak better, think better, and become a better version of yourself. So I'm not going to force you to become an extrovert because you want to become better. I would rather let you know the type of personality you have and how you can leverage that to be a powerful communicator. So we're all different. If you prefer a quiet evening and someone else prefers a loud evening, it doesn't mean that communication is affected. Now, being shy is not the same as being an introvert. Being shy, not talking to people. We've talked about that, right? We have established that. So if you are shy, it's something you need to work on. If you are shy, you don't like talking to people, it's something you need to work on, because an introvert is quiet, not shy. So if you're shy and you're an introvert, you need to work on it so that as an introvert, you're a powerful communicator, not that you're shy and you run away from people when it comes to being conversational. Are we good? Yes. So Susan Cain's research shows that introverts process information more deeply. They think before they speak, and they are very reflective. If you ask me, these are strengths. These are cognitive strengths, not weaknesses. So imagine that we have two students. One talks nonstop for 5 minutes and doesn't really make any clear point, while another talks for just 1 minute, gives a clear, structured answer, and you're able to remember, you're able to connect with the person that is speaking. Who sounds more intelligent? The talkative A or the clear B? Communication is not measured by how much we say. It is measured by how clear we are, how well we're able to pass understanding to others as we speak. Thinking before speaking. Let's talk about these features of introverts and then look at them deeply before we look at why introverts struggle. Thank you, Philip. Thank you. All right, thank you so much for your comments. We'll go ahead. One thing that introverts do well is they think before they speak. And this leads to clarity, it leads to precision, and it leads to depth. So if you think well before you speak, kudos. 2, introverts are into deep observation. They look around, they observe, and they notice. They notice tone, they notice words, they notice expression. So you can imagine someone that is deep in observation. This would make you better at responding wisely to others, and you're able to read situations better. Introverts have listening skills, and you know that people who listen well speak better, right? 4, Introverts don't just speak to silence. They speak when they have something to say. And I think that's powerful. They speak when they have something to say, right? Tell us, why do introverts struggle? Are you an introvert? Do you struggle with communication? You don't struggle because you're an introvert. You struggle because of some things. What are these things? One, you think so much. You think so much. Excuse me, I'm going to take a moment to put my light on because VHCN just struck. Hold on. I'll fix that. Honeywell, please come help me with the power. It's a bit dark. All right, so give me a minute, please. Give me a minute to, yes, this is one indicator that I'm in Nigeria, right? All right. A minute, please. But I know you can still see me, so I will go ahead to. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Yes, I was saying that introverts, they think before they speak. They are into deep observation. They have listening skills, good listening skills, because they're very good listeners. And they don't just speak to silence. They speak when they have something to say. Why do introverts struggle? They think so much that they don't speak. Or they think so much that they don't speak. 2, fear of judgment. What if I don't say this right? What if? That's one thing they struggle with. 3, lack of practice. If you're an introvert, you already know that you need to work on your speaking. So instead of avoiding speaking, you need to practice to improve. All right? Then there is internal pressure. You want to sound perfect before you speak. I think this is also tied to the fear of judgment. So we see these things would always come up. But I tell you, you don't have to have perfect thoughts before you speak. You just need to have clear thoughts. Yes, we just need to have clear thoughts. So I would want to give you clear strategies for introverts to become powerful communicators, because we're not just here to talk about who introverts are or how they are. We want to know how you can become a powerful communicator as an introvert, not having to change who you are because you want to become better. We have made that clear. So the first thing you need to do is that you need to practice. You need to practice before you speak. You know, you have a meeting, have a pep talk with yourself. What is my main point? What do I really know that we are going to do in this place, in this meeting? What are we going to be talking about? Have some information that you can contribute to so that you don't hide under the guise of being an introvert and then not contributing to important conversations around you. That's not going to be okay. All right? So practice before you speak. If you have the opportunity. I know that sometimes we might have spontaneous situations. So for that spontaneous situation, you can have a clear structure. There's this what, so what, now what structure. We'll look at this in one of the coming live sessions. But a simple structure you can have for conversations is you make your point, you explain, then you give an example. Period. Your point, an explanation, and then you give an example. If you have been following this channel closely, you would know that these 3 things I just said are tied to argument mapping, right? What's your point? You give examples and then give illustrations, something to back it up, your evidence, your claim, your evidence, and then examples. For this one, I'm saying, what's your point? Give your explanation and then give an example. This is a good, simple structure for conversations. 3, start small. Don't wait till you have a TED talk before you start practicing, right? Start in small groups, around your friends, in familiar environments. Start speaking with good structure where you can exert yourself and then speak so you hear yourself talk. 4, use pauses. Pause when you speak. Don't think that that makes you feel awkward. No. When you have a pause before you speak, it means that you're not rushing. So you have time to process, you have time to think, and it makes you sound confident. It makes you sound confident. Yes, hello, hello. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the fifth strategy for, okay. Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Let's move on to the fifth strategy for introverts. Practice speaking out loud. Practice speaking out loud so you can hear yourself, even when you're alone. You can hear yourself. It builds your fluency and it builds your confidence. And if you have been with me, you know that speaking out loud, reading out loud is something I've always talked about. And remember the shadowing technique. So this all points to the fact that you can become a good communicator as an introvert. You don't need to speak louder. You don't need to be talkative. You don't need to become an extrovert. You just need to be clear in your communication. You need to be clear. You need to develop your communication skill. All right? Some of the most powerful, thank you, Lily's View. Thank you, Tifa Hub, welcome. Some of the most powerful communicators in the world are not the loudest. I'll take that again. Some of the most powerful communicators in the world are not the loudest. They are not the most talkative. They are those who think deeply and speak with intention. And that is what you want to be. That is how you want to communicate. If you know someone that is quiet, you know someone that wants to develop their communication skill, share this video with them so that they know that it is not a weakness, that it is a superpower that they've got. Can introverts become good communicators? Now you have your answer. Thank you so much for joining me today. The Scent Educator is here to help you think better, speak better, and act better. I'll see you again next week, Friday. Till then, stay blessed.